Hey, I'm Adam Jusko from ProudMoney.com. Are store credit cards bad? That is the question we are going to answer in this video, but before we do, I'm going to ask you to please subscribe to this YouTube channel if you have not already, and if you have already, I thank you for doing so. In fact, we just went over 10,000 subscribers, and if you are one of them, I very much thank you for being one of them. So, we are into the holiday shopping season as I'm making this video. It is Cyber Monday. Black Friday has just come and gone. We've just had the whole Thanksgiving weekend where people are starting to ramp up their holiday shopping, and one of the things that inevitably happens during the holiday shopping season is that people are offered store credit cards more than probably the rest of the year. So you are going in and you're making a purchase in store or online, and you are going to get the, you're going to be hit up for the credit card application saying, hey, you can get 15%, 20% off or whatever on this purchase if you sign up for the store credit card. Now, that sounds great on the surface, but at the same time, you're going to see a lot of things on TV and in news articles that are going to tell you how terrible store credit cards are and that you should avoid them at all costs. And so what is the truth? Are store credit cards bad? Are store credit cards good? Or is the truth somewhere in between? So the news stories that you are usually going to see that are going to tell you how terrible store credit cards are usually have this theme. Store credit cards lure you in with a discount. They don't talk about how terrible the interest rate is on that card. So you make the purchase, you get the store credit card, and then you inevitably don't pay off your full balance on that card, and then you are hit with this crazy high interest rate, and then you fall into terrible debt, and it's all because you opened up that store credit card. Now, of course, these stories make one big assumption, or maybe they make two big assumptions. One of them is that the retailers are evil and they're trying to get you into terrible debt. But the second assumption is that you have no self-discipline. And inevitably, if you get a store credit card with a high interest rate, that you are not going to pay off that credit card, and it is going to put you into terrible debt. So this assumes that everybody that gets a store credit card has no self-control and couldn't be just getting it for the discount and moving on with their lives by paying the card off in full. Now, I'm not so naive as to believe that there aren't people out there who are going to get store credit cards and not pay off their balance in the coming month, especially when you're talking about the holiday season, when people may be inclined to spend more than they can actually pay in the coming month. However, there also are people that can get that store credit card, take that discount, know they'll pay it off in the following month, and so basically they just got something cheaper than they would have otherwise. So there are two sides, and many stories are going to frame it all on one side and disregard the other. So what we're going to do from here on in the video is talk about the pros and the cons of those store credit cards. All right, let's start with the pros. Number one, we've already sort of touched on, and that is the fact of the initial discount for opening up the new store credit card. 15%, 20%, 25%, 30%. Usually somewhere in that range, you are going to get that discount on that first purchase with the card. If you are making a substantial purchase with that new credit card, then obviously in terms of real dollars, that could feel like real money that you are keeping in your pocket versus paying to that retailer. Number two is going to be the fact that there is either a discount or a rewards program attached to most credit cards on an ongoing basis. So a discount may be something like Target's 5%. If you have the Target Red card, you're going to get 5% every time that you shop at Target with that card. There are a million points program store cards that are going to give you usually 4 or 5 points per dollar on the purchases that you make at that retailer. When you reach a certain number of points, say 2,500, you are then going to get maybe a $25 rewards certificate that you can use toward a future purchase at that retailer. That is the way that we often think of store card programs working. So that is another way that you can get either a discount or reward. And then number three is the ongoing coupons and events that may happen for people that have those store credit cards. So if you have any store credit cards already, you may already know that you're going to get some coupons in the mail or via email that are specifically for those store credit card holders. There may be little special events within the stores. Maybe there's a sale coming up and there's a day beforehand where you can get in there before the sale starts and get a special discount as a credit card holder. So if you're someone that really likes a particular retailer, those three things together between the initial discount and the daily discount or rewards program, and then those promotions that you are going to get throughout the year can be very attractive. If you really like a retailer, it feels good to get all those things. It's sort of fun, and if you're someone that pays off that credit card every month, you don't really see any downside to those pros. All right, now let's look at those cons. The number one con we've also sort of already touched on, and that is the fact that store credit cards generally have terrible interest rates. So if you carry a balance, if you don't pay off that balance the next month after you've made purchases on that card, you're going to get socked with some high interest. Usually store credit cards are going to have interest rates over 20%, oftentimes over 25%, some of them right up there around 30%. So that is pretty lousy when compared to regular bank cards. So that is definitely nothing to, disregard if you're someone that isn't totally sure that you're going to be able to pay off your balance when that bill comes. The number two con of store credit cards is the fact that they are going to cause a hit to your credit score. So obviously that means your credit score is going to go down a little bit when you open that store credit card. If you don't have much of a credit history, that could mean a more significant hit. If you have a lot of credit history already, it might not mean much at all. Now, this doesn't really mean that store credit cards are any different from bank credit cards when it comes to there being a ding to your credit score. It's true no matter what kind of credit card you open. However, if you are someone that doesn't have a lot of credit history, you might prefer to take that ding on a bank card that is something you can use more widely and maybe has rewards that you value more on an overall basis versus a store credit card that might be a nice feeling to get a discount, in the short term, but maybe you don't value it as much in the long term. But now you've taken that hit to your credit score, and so maybe it makes it less likely that you could get other credit cards down the line because your credit score doesn't look as good. Again, if you're somebody that has a long credit history and you open a store credit card, it's probably, barely a blip, and so that is something that doesn't really concern you. But if you don't have much of a credit history, then that hit to your credit score could be something that is not that attractive. Now, in a similar vein, if you open up a store credit card, it could mean that you are in danger of breaking the rules from other bank card issuers that don't want to see you opening too many credit card accounts if you want to be accepted for their cards. So I'm specifically thinking about Chase's 524 rule that says if you have opened 5 credit card accounts across any card issuer over the last 24 months, that Chase is not going to accept you for a new card. Now, this is not set in stone necessarily, but it's fairly well acknowledged that this is kind of how Chase works. So if you have too many card accounts open in the recent past, they are not going to let you get a new one with them. Many of the other card issuers have similar rules that they don't put out there for everyone to see, but they are somewhat acknowledged to be true. And even if they don't have a rule that they have written down anywhere, anytime that you have opened up a lot of accounts in a short time, then you are going to be less likely to be accepted for new cards. So store credit cards have a limited usage, and so sometimes people open them and really barely use them for anything because they can't use them very widely, right? So if you tend to open up a lot of store credit cards, you could put yourself over the limits of some of these other credit card companies that don't want to see so many newly opened accounts. Another con to consider with store credit cards is the fact that you could get sucked down a rewards path that is not really ideal. Many retail cards are going to give you points toward future purchases at that particular store, but you usually have to get a lot of points before you can redeem them. So say you have the Sephora credit card and you're earning points toward a future reward certificate. Well, it could be quite a while before you get that certificate. Maybe you would have been better off putting those purchases on a general market credit card where the rewards are more flexible. You can use them in more different ways. You can get cash back. You could put them toward other types of rewards, and you can probably get them more often than having to wait until you spend a lot at one particular retailer. Now that'll make 3 other points that could be a pro or a con depending on your situation. Number 1, a lot of store credit cards are instant approval. So if you're someone that really wants to get new credit, oftentimes you can get it very fast. You can be approved right while you are standing at the counter and get that discount or whatever for the store credit card and use that credit card right away. Now on the good side, it means you can use that card right away. You can get your discount, you can get rewards. On the downside, maybe you shouldn't be getting a credit card that quickly without thinking that hard about it. Number two, store credit cards are often easier to get. There's often a lower standard of approval for store credit cards, which means if you have a lower credit score, you might be approved much more easily than you could for general market bank cards. On the upside, you can get a new credit card where maybe you were having trouble getting a card with other issuers. On the downside, if you have a lower credit score, maybe you shouldn't necessarily be getting that card, and you may be putting yourself in a place where you again are putting a ding on your credit score and lowering it further. And then number three is the fact that many store credit cards have 0% financing, meaning you can finance your purchase over a period of time, usually from 6 months to 12 months, pay no interest, and as long as you pay off that balance, well then you didn't pay any interest on that purchase, which sounds great. Obviously that is the upside. The potential downside is the fact that many of these have sort of a gotcha in them, which says if you don't pay off every single dollar of that balance within that 6 months or that 12 months or whatever the promotional period is, and what they're going to end up doing is charging you all of the interest on the complete purchase from the day you made that purchase. And again, that would be with a terrible interest rate. You know, usually you're looking at 25% or more. So if you take a 6 month or 12 month 0% offer, but you don't pay it off within 6 months or 12 months, you could find that you are paying a ton of interest on that purchase. So are store credit cards bad? It depends. You have to ask yourself the following questions. Will I pay in full every month? Is this going to hurt my credit score in a way that is going to make me unhappy, or is it just a small ding that will quickly go away because my credit score is so high? Would I be better off putting whatever this purchase is on a regular general market credit card that gives me rewards that I like, instead of opening up a new credit card that is going to take me down a rewards path that I don't like? But probably the biggest is, are you going to pay off that credit card every month? Because if you're paying it off every month and you take an initial discount and it's not going to hurt you in any way, then a store credit card is not a big deal. But if you are someone that is getting a store credit card because you can't pay off that credit card in the next month, but you want to buy some stuff for the holiday season or whatever the case may be, well then obviously you could get yourself in trouble, and that is the source of so many of these articles that you will see in TV news stories telling you how bad credit cards are from retail stores. So you have to take all of those things into consideration, think about what your situation is, and know yourself a little bit, and decide for yourself whether they are good, bad, or somewhere in between. That's it. Thank you for watching, and as always, please go to proudmoney.com, where we do credit card reviews, we talk personal finance, we talk deals, and all sorts of other fun stuff too. Thanks for watching. Bye.